Hey,
Hi,
hey, how you doing, Mister?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Fine.
I'm trying to get a good placement there. It's so exciting to be a guest on your show.
Yeah, it is finally right.
I know it's a totally different experience getting to be a guest versus hosting.
How you been today?
I've been so good. It's definitely been a long day.
Right.
How about you?
I'm good. I'm chilling. We got nice weather today. Just enjoying the nice warm weather.
It was crazy. It's been raining
Ah,
here in
man,
California, Northern California. It's been raining. It's been really cold, and then it hikes right back up to super hot again next week.
crazy, crazy.
I know.
Yeah, man. I'm glad that you finally able to get on here. I mean, I've been on your platform for a couple times, and we talked about Michael Jackson, and we talked about Left Eye, and it was fun. You know what I'm saying? And now I get to have you on my platform, so. Shout out to everybody that's coming through. It's Daddy Rap Podcast. I'm Triborough. This is the beautiful Mr. Goddess.
Oh, thank you so much. It's an
And
honor to be here.
yeah, and we're just gonna get into like, your life and you as a content creator and everything else. And for the people that don't really know you, like tell them a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my name is the Mystic Goddess. I was formerly under Tetris Goddess, which is a
Right.
story we'll get into.
I
But
remember that.
I've been here in this
Mhm.
content world for 6 years during the COVID era. Right, we all were locked inside. I lost my job, which was in the hotel industry, and like a lot of streamers, I thought, let me get on Twitch, let me start streaming. I thought you had to be a gamer to be a streamer, so the only game I know I play is Tetris.
That's
So
just right.
started off with that, and it evolved into streaming a podcast on IG Live.
Right.
I call it Goddess Grill Sessions
Mhm.
because I love to grill people. I'm quick with questions, but some people will be like, "Oh, does that mean like you like to barbecue?" And on Goddess Grill Sessions, I literally talk about everything. I've been honored and lucky to cover a wide variety of topics. You've mentioned the diverse topics we've covered
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
Um, and I mean, I've worked with incredible people with so many amazing stories. That's what I love to do is help people tell their
Right.
stories. And in addition to that, I am a spiritual being. I have been since before I can remember. That's why I named myself Mystic.
Mhm.
I've endured mystical experiences, and I like connecting spirituality with sensuality because they are intertwined. And I've been on OnlyFans for 6 years, and it's been a journey. I do all kinds of content, so
Mhm.
it's all
Yeah.
over the place.
So we got to talk about that. But I mean, in the beginning, like, tell me, like, what was it like growing up, as young Mystic Goddess in your household? Like, what was your childhood like?
I'm so glad you asked that. Try like it was. I'm a first generation American born Fijian Indian, as we call it, and parents were very old school, very very old school. And at the age of like adolescence, like 11, 12 years old, I was really starting to kind of experience bullying in school because A, kids are butt heads, right?
Right, right.
And
Yeah.
B, it was this trying to be this American girl
Mhm.
at school and trying to be this perfect Indian girl at home.
Right.
And my parents' expectations, they were so different from this American world. So it was a struggle. I went through a period where I did not like being Indian. I didn't like my culture.
Yeah.
It isn't until later in life that we understand why our parents do the things they do, right?
Mhm. For sure.
And I've talked to you about this. My father had passed early on in my life. I was 14
Sorry
years
for
old.
that.
and my mom is raising two children.
Mhm.
My brother has special needs as well, so she's
Right.
raising children alone, and she had to be a mom and dad, and she's very strict. And one
Yeah.
of the things that she was really strict about, and my dad as well,
Mhm.
was sensuality, your sensual energy, and being covered up, and
Yeah.
being a modest woman, and things like that. I don't blame them, but because I felt this repression,
Mhm.
I kind of felt like I decided to venture out
Yeah.
on OnlyFans when I felt this sense of freedom.
Right. So you felt kind of like restricted as a young woman.
Absolutely. Can you relate in any
Oh
way?
yeah.
Like,
I
if,
mean,
you know,
I'm I'm the only child, so
that's right.
automatically it's like my mom is always gonna like watch what I do, but I always had that freedom to live life and to be a kid and to grow up in the different experiences. So what I mean, I never had like that restriction or rebelled, and I just was me. Like I was just into life and into having fun. You know what I'm saying? And I had friends that was doing drugs and selling drugs and drinking and all that. That just wasn't for me.
For sure. And I think that being, male and female too,
Yeah.
definitely differs, right? When you're
Like,
raising a young lady, it's so different, and especially like with me, like I was just very mature. I'm an old soul. Like I literally feel like I'm centuries old. Seriously, like I literally, and just it was. I'm sure it was hard.
mm,
Um, gender gender roles were very apparent early on too. Like
yeah,
an Indian girl does this, an Indian boy does this. So, like there was a lot of repression there, but I guess to understand like your own pain from your parents, when
yeah,
you understand their pain and how they were raised, and I, the way they raised me though, I'm grateful now.
right,
I see their point now with a lot of the things that they said, but that restriction, I still even feel it,
right,
even
right.
at 40. So I felt like OnlyFans was a great platform to really express myself because you can do um, what you want, the content that you want. And then Goddess Girl Sessions podcast, another form of expression.
Right. So, like, you mentioned your dad passed away when he was 14. I lost my grandmother when I was 15. And when he passed away, like, did you find somebody to speak to, or did you have like a journal to write in, or how did you deal with your feelings about that?
Yeah, and I think of your grandma whenever I hear Michael Jackson and see Michael Jackson because I remember you told me she loved
Yeah,
him.
she wrote a letter. She wrote a letter to him when he burned his scalp in the 80s when he was doing that commercial.
Oh,
And
that's
she sent it to him, and it was like she was crying like he was one of her children, and that's just how she was. Like she was like a fun loving person to everybody. So
I'd like to think he got it.
yeah,
I like to think he got it and you read it.
yeah.
You know, I
Sometimes,
I at 14, mom being the income growing up poor and
right.
stuff, and she offered for me to
Mm,
see someone, and I didn't, and I wish I did a therapist
right.
because it was very hard on me. Truly, just and although he was a great father, a great man, he was an alcoholic. He struggled with addiction, and so just my childhood early on, I felt like I had to grow up at a very young age. I had to the things I experienced. I would say from birth um, up until my father passed away was things that most children didn't have to deal with, growing up. Um, in the long run, I think it toughened me, but it was very hard. I had a very, very hard time with his death. I think it's only in recent years that I
Yeah,
I, I see him as a guide and with me versus mourning him. Like, did you have a really hard time with your grandma too?
I did. the first couple years, because like I actually like when we had the wake for her, that's actually on my birthday, like when I'm turning 15. So
Right.
I'm seeing like somebody that I love and I know for my whole life in a coffin on my birthday. So that was very hard. And then like the next day, my grandfather had to bury his wife, and his birthday is the next day after mine. So I didn't process it back then, and realizing, taking into consideration of everybody else's feelings except for just mine. But many years later, I realized, like, damn, like that was my wife, and I'm burying her on my birthday. How I would feel. You know what I'm saying? So, like many years later, like I accepted it. I'm like, it's a part of life, and that's why you got to cherish the loved ones now. You know what I'm saying? Before it's too late, because you never know. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Paul Molly. He said, I lost my grandmother at 15.
Oh,
Hey,
heart,
I
my
feel for
heart
you, bro. I feel
my
for
heart
you.
too. It was when my father passed away, and
Mhm.
I'm grateful to have the opportunity to talk about him. I talk about his lessons a lot on my
Yeah.
channel. A lot. I abide by them.
Mhm.
Um, and you know, when he passed away, it was 2 months away from my 15th birthday as well. So I know, and I really relate because what I didn't want my mom to get rid of any of his things. When she boxed up his clothes,
Mhm.
I just was really upset with her. And
Right.
I feel like I was being so selfish. It wasn't until I talked to one of my older brothers,
Oh,
and he asked me how I thought she felt every day looking at his
yeah.
clothes. What did that do to her?
Right.
Like and so I can relate to the part where you felt like you were thinking about yourself, but
Mhm.
also I think grief is hard and in itself, but especially hard on a child.
Yeah. And it was writing poetry and music that really helped me through those years of being depressed and not understanding as a teenager why she's gone. You know what I'm saying? So like anybody that's going through like a lost loved one, I think music really played a part in my life, and writing out your thoughts on a notebook or on a legal pad or something. Just if you can't talk to nobody, you know um just writing out your thoughts, and me writing out thoughts turned into like poetry. And I mean, I had friends from like elementary school that was there for me too, but they really didn't know what I was going through at that time. And I'm 15, 16, and I didn't want to really talk to nobody, but like I was writing out things on a notebook. I think that really helped a lot. So instead of like going to a psychiatrist, and I mean, some people could do that. It's not for everybody though.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that because I did write letters to my dad a lot.
Mm.
Um, every day at first, but then as time progresses, they get less and less as you
Right,
feel like you need to. So I'm really glad you mentioned that. And of course, music, dance for
right.
me. Since the age of 5, dance has been taking me through life. So
Mm.
music, I think it's a big part of in most people's life. It
Right.
heals, it brightens, it does everything.
Right. I did tap dancing when I was younger. Like I took tap dancing classes because I was always active as a kid with sports. I did tap dancing, gymnastics, karate, baseball, football. So when did you like start dancing like at a young age?
Yeah, that's I was 5 years old actually when I just started performing, just listening to some Indian music, and I just literally just started creating my own dances. And anytime my parents had company over,
Right.
my mom got really irritated, but I would go over to my dad and ask if I could perform for everybody. And
Yeah.
so he was so kind. This is not typical of an Indian father. Is in
Yeah.
that generation, they usually forbid their daughters from even doing any kind of dance. And I'm 5, it's a little
Right. Right.
classical dance, and literally he made everybody look, and I would just start dancing, and Bollywood dance carried me out throughout life.
Mm.
Tap dancing really intrigues me. Like I hope to see that
Oh
someday.
man. I got old like pictures and videos somewhere where like when my aunt and my mom was like, because we actually had like dance recitals to do. So like we would perform in front of like hundreds of people, and they got those photos and videos somewhere in the vault. But if I ever find it, I'll definitely send it to you.
Yeah, but it's a in our day those
Mhm.
videos were on VHS
Right, yeah,
cassette.
yeah, like camcorder. That's the camcorder era. So yeah,
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 yeah. And same like my best performances were before the iPhones ever
right,
existed, or if they did, I didn't have an iPhone. So when people are like, "Hey, can I see your performance when you were like this
mhm,
age?" I'm like, no, people were out with their phones back then. So I don't, it's a good thing and a bad thing that people couldn't record everything
yeah,
back.
yeah. Yeah. So like, I know music was like a big thing for you. Like, what? Like, talk about like some of the artists that you grew up listening to.
Yeah, sure. Oh gosh, I have a funny story.
Mm,
Mariah Carey was a big one when I was 11.
mm,
Song Honey, I saw her and I just wanted to be her. I thought
right,
she was so beautiful. Just she was everything I wanted to,
yeah,
to be.
right,
Beautiful, confident, and I loved Honey. And we had it came on the radio, and if we wanted to keep a song, we had to take our cassette tapes
yeah,
and
yeah.
record it,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So I was trying to write the lyrics down,
Mm,
and it's the song starts off, "Oh baby, you can have me when you want me."
mm,
I had to keep rewinding,
mhm,
play, rewind. Oh baby, you hear one where you know
yeah.
how it was.
Oh
And
yeah.
my mom was cleaning my room one day. Like
Mm,
I swear, there's many good stories about my mom too. I don't mean to make her sound so
right.
scared, but she found that and
Mm,
thought I was writing it to a boy. Boys
oh,
did
wow.
not like me at
Mm,
this time in my life. I was like, no, it's a
really?
song. I can play you the song.
Mm,
Mariah Carey was huge. I loved Will Smith at the time a
mm,
lot. And I listened to anything that came on the radio, but you probably remember MTV's The
oh, yeah.
Box.
Yeah. The box. Yeah.
You gotta sit there all day,
Yeah.
stare at a grainy screen, and
Right.
maybe a couple hours later, something would come up. Do you remember Drew Hill's "Never Make a Promise"?
Yes, I do remember that.
That song was like it really takes me back to my
Yeah.
childhood.
And I wasn't a huge Drew Hill fan. Like I know some of these songs, but like there was certain songs from them that really hit on the radio. Video was always being played, and you know, like radio at that time was a big part of our lives, and MTV. So it's like we had to sit through certain shows just to get to our show. So if I'm watching MTV Jams, I gotta wait for a certain time. I gotta go through everything else to get to MTV Jams, and then go MTV Raps and unplugged and all that. But that was fun times.
Yeah, today there's no
Mm,
patience.
right.
They don't know, like, if we were watching a movie back then,
Yeah.
that little commercial, that's all the time you got. You go to the bathroom, you go get your snack,
Right.
you go
Right.
back, and I also just felt like
Mm,
music was my little way to escape,
yeah.
reality. Like I said, but childhood was hard. Um, and one thing I experienced, I talked about bullying, or like for some reason, kids
Mm,
are buttheads.
yeah.
They would really laugh at the fact that I listened to Will Smith, or a major band I need to mention because I haven't talked about them with you
Right.
is the Police. I started listening to the Police at
Oh,
11 to
nice.
12 years old. Do you listen to them?
Oh yes, I have a couple of albums. Like my mom naturally she grew up on like the Police and Sting when he went solo. So when I'm like a kid and I'm seeing him leave the band and then go solo and watching him on like different festivals, and yeah, I got Synchronicity. That's like my favorite Police album.
That's it. That's a great album.
Yeah.
It's timeless, and I
Hmm.
mean, since the time I was 12 to now, I don't know if you remember this, but
Mm.
in the mail you used to get a bunch of stamps.
Yes.
And if you get it, you put, there were CDs and you
Yeah.
put them, and I went behind my parents' back, and
Right.
one of them happened to be the Police CDs,
Wow.
and I did that. They were so mad because the CD said, it said that you get them for $0.01, but that's
Right.
not true. They
Right.
charged my
They
dad was
charge
so
you. Yes.
mad.
Yeah.
But in that, it was meant to happen because there came the Police CD,
Right.
and here I am, almost 40 and still rocking out and
Still
still
rocking it. Yeah.
and it's just feel good music.
Right. Timeless music. And I could
Timeless.
relate. I could relate to you, like when I was in elementary school, and the kids they would ask me, like, they would look at me funny, like, yo, you listen to New Kids on the Block? You listen to the Culture Club and Wham? And I'm like, yeah, like, this is what I grew up on. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's so many different sounds in the household. It's like they kind of like don't know what to think of me. Like, I don't know, like, you listen to the same music, but then he listens to, Boy George and George Michael, and you know what I mean? So it was even now, it's like I might post up something and people be like, you like Justin Bieber? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, he makes some good music. I don't like
I,
everything from Justin Bieber, but I like his recent stuff.
I love when I saw you post
Mm,
Stain,
yeah.
and we're just, it goes to show that music doesn't have a look, or
Yeah.
we can be, people are stunned. I'm a rocker, I'm a headbanger.
Yeah.
And people, I go looking like this to a rock concert, they're like, you're a headbanger? I'm like, yeah,
Mm,
I'm a headbanger. And
yeah.
it's just, it's like music is for everybody. All genres of music is for everybody.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. Like, I know you're heavy into like spirituality and your beliefs. Like, talk about, like, how did you get into that stuff? Like, the mystic goddess. How did you get into that?
And early on in life, my dad talked about the soul. I grew up Hindu, and
Mm,
I still am Hindu, but I believe in everything
yeah.
because we are all one. Is my personal beliefs. But my dad taught me about the soul, taught me about detachment from materialistic things at 5. And that's quite the concept to wrap around at 5. And at 8 years old, I had a mirror on my childhood bed
Mm,
headboard, and I turned around and I looked at myself and I asked the philosophical question of who who am I? What does it mean to be me?
right.
Like, I've always felt like I'm on the outside of myself in a
Mm,
way. And I've never fully felt like I belong at all. Like, I've always, in the sense, like I feel different. I'm very, very, very highly intuitive. Um, I've only recently started talking about this because this part I'm about to say, because I didn't accept this for a very long time
mm,
until recently I realized that its truth is like my dreams have given me predictions,
right.
future predictions from a young age. They're, they come and go, like, and just, I can feel energy very, very heavy. And after experiencing a lot of depression and anxiety in my
Mm,
life, and truthfully feeling that life was happening to me. I think we've all been in our life, like you mentioned, your grandma, like we question, why is this happening to me? Until I realized I went through another spiritual awareness, spiritual awakening in 2024, understanding that I am actually the creator. I create my reality based on my internal vibration. This is what I talk about in my manifestation content. That it is our internal world that recreates itself to your external world. So since I discovered conscious creation, I
mm,
started understanding like life isn't, no, I create this. And
yeah.
although I struggle, we're human, we have human emotions.
Yeah.
I have really been into raising my vibration and manifesting reality and just expressing the utmost gratitude for the life that I have. I have a lot of spiritual practices that I do, a lot of prayers that I do, but I truly feel we're all one. I take teachings from every religion. A religion that I, unfortunately, growing up, I let my pain speak for me, and I used to feel so opposite of Christianity until I realized we're all one, and how beautiful the Bible is. There's a lot of quotes on manifestation when you look through your spiritual eye. And when you look at all the religions, I've educated myself from all religions. Most religions want us to be a good person and be happy and have a high vibration. That's what most religions want. So that's why I say I believe in everything.
I agree. Unfortunately, there's people out there that they're evil, and you know, they don't want to do good. They don't want to be good within the world and give us peace, you know, and that's where we got to separate who's good and who's evil. You know what I'm saying? But
Absolutely. And it's like learning to set boundaries.
yeah,
You know, like I don't know if you've had to do this in your life
uh,
where sometimes you just have to separate yourself and protect your energy. And I've
yeah,
really practiced this these last 2 years.
oh yeah. I mean, I do that now. Like
Good for
if when I
you.
come online, I do whatever, and then I log off, and I don't want nobody around me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm
I'm the
chilling.
same way.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like don't hit me up at 4 a.m. about nothing. Like I'm not on. If you message me and I don't respond, it means I ain't logged in. Well, I do that on purpose just to get like a couple hours away from social media because you know how it is, and you know I like the peace around me. So, but I definitely could relate to that. You know, speaking of content creating, like how did you get into being a content creator? What made you feel like I could do this?
Um, um, you know, and I was gonna say real quick
Mhm,
when you just mentioned that, it reminds me one other thing that's always been kind of really people have found really odd about me, especially
mhm,
as a girl, as a young woman, is I really like to be by myself a lot. Like as far back as I can remember, like I would like literally ditch people just to go sit and read by myself. Like I
mhm,
like, and most people, like especially my gender,
mhm,
like, hey, let's do things in groups. Let's do things together. Let's do our and I specify my gender because it's been hard. Feminine friendships were hard growing up because I have this about me. I
right,
love to be around. In content creation,
mhm,
I tried to. I tried content creating in 2013, and then again in 2016, 2017, and I just didn't have the confidence to do it. And I feel like I didn't have the knowledge to do it. Like I didn't truly like even begin to start really loving myself until much later.
right,
Like you would probably be shocked if you met, 2013 version of me, but
mhm,
you have to be all those versions to become who you are. I always wanted to be a creator. Another escape for me, was um, beauty gurus. I'm very into makeup and fashion. No one taught me growing up. We didn't have YouTube to look it up. So I would look at commercials at girls, how they did their makeup. And we couldn't pause commercials. So I would try real quick. I'm like, what is she doing? And try to
mhm,
learn that way.
mhm,
Until YouTube came out and I would just watch a lot of girls. And that's what I wanted to do at first was makeup videos. Um, which I've tried and I
mhm,
love, but I love doing,
right,
podcasting way more and stuff. But I always
yeah,
wanted to be one. And essentially, it's just to make a difference. It hopes to make a difference and to connect with amazing people. And of course, I'll
mhm,
be honest,
mhm,
I love to make a living
yeah, for sure.
off of podcasting and doing what I love.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, your makeup looks gorgeous today, so you have no problem
Thank
doing
you.
that. You
Thank
know.
you so much. Yeah. And I think, self love also is you develop your own style. You
Mhm,
develop how you wish to be, and you learn these skills. And just from a really young age, I just wanted to be like a really girly, glamorous girl who knew how to dress and stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of that. I didn't know how to put clothes together. I didn't know how to, and I longed to do it, and I
Right.
manifested, this version of me. But
Yeah.
I had to wait till YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
YouTube was invented to really learn.
Yeah, YouTube teaches everything on there. Like, I learned how to like unlock an iPhone and all that. So that's a tool that we actually need in this era
Yeah,
now. So you know,
literally, isn't it wild? Because
mm,
you can do anything, but when we were growing up, we would have to go to the library, read
right,
books. Like
that part,
now we have it at our fingertips. We
right,
can look at anything we want.
yeah. So the OnlyFans thing, I know I don't. I wanted to ask you. 'Cause I'm like I don't know if I should mention it or
No,
some
I
people.
would love to talk to you about it.
How did you get into OnlyFans and what like what made you feel like I got to show my goodies to the whole world? Like where did that come from?
Yeah, and before I get into that, I want to mention that that I before like I would get really before content creatorship, I was a person who dressed up really nice. Like if I went to a concert, showed cleavage. If I went to a concert or maybe a nice date or something. But for the most part, I've always been a pretty like conservative dresser, a
Mm,
pretty
yeah,
covered kind of gal. I've
yeah,
always had a lot of sensual energy. I don't even want to say what age I was when I discovered that I was a seductress, that I had the ability. And I use that for good. It can really help when you're in a situation when someone's real mad at you,
yeah. Oh
like
yeah,
or something
for
like
sure.
that. But and again, this was shunned. This was not. My mom just wanted the complete opposite of that. So 2020 rolls around, I lose my job, and I I want to say that I just kind of did it because I felt so repressed that it was my rebel moment. Most people rebel in some way, shape,
Yeah,
or form
mm,
in their teenagers. I never did. And in utmost honesty, at first, because I created my page to reflect this, I think my page really showed this aspect of me a lot more. My not safe for work content. I podcasted, but I really because I was making money.
mm,
Just now I want to go ahead and throw one misconception out the door.
mm.
OnlyFans, hey, that dude Marsh, hi
Salute,
Marsh.
salute.
Salute to you, Marsh. OnlyFans does not pay your bills. OnlyFans does not supplement income. There's a lot
Mhm.
of misconceptions. I've been told, oh, I wish I could just take my clothes off and make
Mm,
out. So I was like, wow. There's misconceptions. But in doing that, I just felt like I suddenly, like a couple years of doing that, and essentially, when we are here online, this is a persona that we are embodying. Triboro, Gigolo. Yeah, we're showing aspects of ourselves.
it's still me. This is no
It's still
persona. It's still me.
right. It's still you.
Mm,
Hey, Chris.
salute,
It's
salute.
still you. But in my case, it felt like I was being a persona. So, like I looked at my page one day 2024, a few years, this is the same spiritual awakening time. And I just looked at it and I felt like I was being a persona rather than me. And I felt like I was getting all these podcast views and follows and likes because of my cleavage. And at first, I felt like this is so empowering. This is so sexually empowering. Sensually, this is empowering me. I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's not. But when you're coming from a lot of pain, and if you haven't dealt with that pain, a lot of, if I may openly say, if you've ever endured any kind of sexual trauma, sexual assault, and you go into that and you haven't healed that part of you, it's not empowering.
Yeah.
It's not empowering until you heal that. I wish to really, really, yes, Marsh, we did talk about it, and I want to really, really say that, like, and I learned this. I learned this kind of the hard way. I started kind of feeling like, because I created this persona, it was still me. You
Right.
still see me in the podcast, but just my page,
Mhm.
all I saw was this woman who showed cleavage and is always teasing and stuff. But I'm like, where's me? Because me is not, that's not
Right.
how I walk around every day.
Right.
I said, and I am so much happier. I'm a person that loves to play music and dance, and I'm obsessed with nature. And I had to kind of really bring more of me into the content and less of not just not safe for work, because that's not
Yeah.
all I am.
Right.
And also, I learned accountability
Mhm.
through conscious creation. And while no person should ever be mistreated or treated like a sexual object or anything, there is some accountability there when you are presenting yourself in a certain light. And I don't get that same likes or viewership or same, and that has to do with the algorithm as well. But I'm so happy to just show the world me versus this part of me,
I agree. Yeah, because I remember when like years ago when you had followed me and I looked at your page, I was like, she got her OnlyFans and but she a podcaster. Like you're like I was telling people, I'm like, you're the only one that I know that have a podcast on the OnlyFans. Like if there's any other women that have that, I don't know about it. They keep that on like a secret, so you know.
Yeah, I didn't know about it either, and I struggled, I grappled
Mhm.
because I'm a professional being. I am a modest woman. Modesty is not defined by how you dress. Modesty is the woman you are, the person you are.
Yeah.
You know a bit of the person I am,
I
right?
know. Yeah.
And the kindness in your heart and stuff. And I grappled because the way I was being treated, again, your external world recreates yourself
Right.
from your internal world, and I was not vibrating high because I felt like I wasn't, after a while I felt like I wasn't like being myself. Like, that's not I don't walk around, like that. I have moments, I have a lot of sensual energy and I love to express that, but that is not all that I am.
Yeah.
And I just got tired of constantly just kind of felt like I was being looked at that. And I take accountability
Mhm.
for how my vibration attracted that to me.
Yeah.
You can't control some people's perception, and their perception doesn't define you. For sure, Marshall, but you can control how you vibrate. And so I'm much, happier just having a platform and a section, but
Mhm.
showing the world's me,
Yeah. Yeah.
versus that. Um, as a man, if I may ask you,
Mhm.
as a man,
Don't put
is
me on the spot.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. Nothing too crazy, but
Mhm.
because I've told you this before that I always felt very respected by you, and that's why I looked at your content and I was like, hey, you're a podcaster, I'm a podcaster, this
Mhm.
podcast. As a man, what is your first thought? And I like to just say that I could read minds and I'm psychic, just,
I
just so
mean,
you
I don't know if I can say what I really feel on here. They might kick us off.
know.
You know. I
That right there, I mean, I appreciate the honesty because, we are all sexual beings.
mhm.
I obviously am one.
Mhm.
You're, I mean, But in March, if you don't mind, just hear your chat. Like, do you automatically like what's kind of the first thing that comes to mind? You know,
I mean,
and you can say it IG appropriate.
hey, you are beautiful. I mean, I've told you this. You're a beautiful woman. You know, you're smart. I love the way you speak and the way that you present yourself. And that to me like means more than just a pretty face and a nice body. I mean, because you could talk to somebody, you could talk to a woman, and she might not be in touch with who she is and what's going on in the world, and I can't have no conversation with her.
Right.
But if I meet somebody that's beautiful and she's smart and she can talk, I could bring her home to my family. That's a lot for me. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So without getting too nasty, like yes, you are gorgeous. You're a
No,
gorgeous woman.
I don't. You know, I always appreciate the professionalism and how you speak, the sophistication and how you speak as well.
Thank you.
And I am big on that. You know, if I may go into, since we are talking about OnlyFans, like this world. I mean, are we? Am I allowed to
Yeah, yeah,
just kind of just openly talk about it?
yeah.
This world thinks that sex is based on pornography, right? I
Right.
understand that, but the way, like the terms and the words,
Mm,
and I just feel like this is my chance to teach people a little bit of a
right,
lesson here.
right.
That is not. That's like what you see. If it's real, you don't see everything else, all else that's going on. And then if it's, you know, if they're actual professional stars, it's not real.
Right.
There's everything I do is with emotion. Everything I do is with feeling.
Mhm.
When you share your sexual energy with somebody, when you know, have sex with somebody, you are exchanging an energy.
Right.
When you are talking to somebody in that manner, you are exchanging an energy. That shit's serious.
Yeah.
And I feel like the world, we just look at it as like it's just nothing. So I really enjoy kind of, you know, bringing that to my platform and
Right.
kind of people are kind of pleasantly surprised. I mostly have a male audience there, but just kind of have to say, hey, don't use that word, don't describe it like that. No, 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 you know, like, and kind of teach them that this is what it's all about, not what you see online. And Marsh, for me, I see your depth, your energy, it radiates positivity. Thank you, Marshall.
Is
Sorry
that all
to
you see,
ramble
Morse?
so much, Tribe.
Is that all you see, Morse?
Marshall's a man too. You know, and that's another thing. Like when you create central energy, like central content, like
Mhm.
you know that you
I know.
have you. I enjoy that. I enjoy, but I want to be spoken to and treated with respect. And I stand very firm. I mean, I've had OnlyFans, you know, clients tell me all the time, like I was scared, you know, like,
Right, right.
and I say, good, I'm glad because I want to be respected, not
Mhm.
like because I do this content. Still a highly educated, loving, kind-hearted woman. So
Right,
yes, I like seducing, I like teasing, I like that energy, but there's also a time and a place for it.
right.
That was my issue with how I used to present my page because it
Yeah.
just felt like, whoa, like this is
Uh-huh.
just overkill. This isn't me how I am, you know, on a
Right,
daily
right.
basis. It's hard being a woman and be you unapologetically, absolutely.
Facts. Yeah. I mean, if you have to like if somebody presented you with like an opportunity to do like a calendar or to be on like a adult platform, would you do it?
No,
No.
absolutely not. And I don't think I ever would. Um, you know, and I know I talked your ear off, but yeah, I'm also a pole dancer,
I've
and
seen that too. How did you get into that?
yeah,
Like the pole dancing. How did you get into that?
that's empowering. By the
Mhm.
way, for sensual energy, that's empowering. But I was gonna say, people ask me all the time, you know, are you going to be an exotic dancer? Are you going to be a
Mhm.
stripper? And it's like, No,
No.
for me, um, being behind the camera is very different than kind of really putting myself, like putting that. I feel that I just want it meant for a very small, specific audience. And pole dancing a year ago, like I want to say that that's what really empowers my central energy. I've kind of had this struggle with my weight, and staying in shape, especially as you get older.
Mm.
Last year when I started pole dance, I felt myself getting a little out of shape again.
Right.
So a friend invited me and I went and it hurt so much, but I loved it so much and I've been obsessed since. It's a very, very, very rewarding but difficult sport. And the community of women, they're what I've been looking for my whole life. They're just so loving and supporting and they cheer you on.
Right. Well, I mean, for me personally, I think you're gorgeous. As a thick woman,
Thank
don't
you.
don't lose too much weight. Like we want you to stay thick and beautiful.
I have always been a curvy woman and I always will be. I have in life
Mm.
when I used to younger kind of put my worth on trying to look a certain way. I completely love myself, but health is everything. And I wish to be at a healthy body weight. And if you got on a pole, you would understand like the more weight you have on you,
Yeah.
the harder it is. So I love my curves, and I will always be. I will always have curves. It's impossible for me to actually be skinny. I got there. I couldn't stay there, and
Mm.
I love this part of me. But I definitely wish to be healthy. I strive to be healthy,
Right.
and leaner. And I will be honest, vanity is a very small portion. There's some really cute clothes that I want to fit into again.
Right.
So there's that. And Marshall, women have to walk a very fine line between being a lady in public and their true sensual nature, but not protecting and but not projecting for sure. For sure, it really is because I want to be known as the professional, educated, caring, loving person that I am. I just happen to be a seductress and have this real sensual side. I'm sorry I'm talking so much.
No, no, no. I love it. I'm having a great time. This is fun.
Me too. Me too.
Every time we do a live, it's always fun. So
It's always fun, and I feel
yeah,
like we can talk about anything. We've
yeah,
literally talked about so many different subjects, and
oh
it
yeah.
just always feels very natural and just flows. Um, I feel lucky to be on your platform and get to talk on some of these subjects because I think that they should be talked about.
Yeah, for sure. Um, where do you want to take your platform, and where do you see it going in like 5 to 10 years?
Um, my manifestation for Goddess Girl Sessions is my biggest wish is that it can help tell as many stories and help people in any way that it can, and that it can provide a living for me, a good living, perhaps even a wealthy living. But so, some people wish for fame and wish for that's never been my goal. If it happens along the way, if my name gets out there, great. That's what happens, right? I have some goal interviews that I'd love to do, some of my favorite artists, but I just really wish for Goddess Girl Sessions to just make a difference and help people. I've had people tell me like, hey, this was the first time I ever got on there. I have a friend who had a speech, who has a
Impediment.
speech
Impediment.
impediment. That's the word
Yeah.
I'm looking for. Thank you. My brother also has a speech impediment. So when I talked to him,
Mhm.
and he openly talked about this, I have two friends here. Um, Getting on Goddess Girl Sessions was huge for them, and it was such an amazing conversation. I came from an understanding perspective. I've had cancer survivors. I've had suicide attempt survivors. I've talked about mental health. I've had musicians, and it's just all amazing, and I just hope to continue that and make a living off of my
Yeah,
episodes.
definitely, definitely. I could definitely see that happening. You know,
Thank
before we get out of here, like, do you have any inspiring words for like young women coming up that might be doubting their weight or doubting how they look, and what do you say to them?
Oh my gosh, I love this question. That's such a beautiful question.
Thank you.
Practice on loving yourself as much as you can. Feed your mind with the utmost loving words, even if you feel like you're lying to yourself, because your mind will eventually believe it. And my dear goddesses, we're goddesses. We should speak about ourselves like we are divine and look at ourselves as we are divine, because when we see the divine in ourselves, we will see them in everybody else as well. Um, you have to love the version of you are now to be the version of you that you wish to be. So don't wait. Dress as beautifully as you want, do what makes you happy, and love yourself. Love yourself, love yourself, love yourself.
I loved it. Thank you, always, Mystic.
Thank you.
This was fun. It's always fun when we connect, and we're gonna definitely do another. We got another live that we're gonna do in June, and we're gonna
Yes,
be talking about the TV shows that we grew up on, and that's
yes.
gonna be on Mystics platform, and that's gonna be fun, and I can't wait for that.
I can't wait for that either.
Yeah,
Thank you so much again for hosting me, and allowing me to share my story. It means a lot, Try.
thank you, thank you. Shout out to everybody that came through, and this was a great live, and we'll see you again soon.
I
Thank you,
look forward
Mystic.
to it. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening, Try.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Peace.
Peace.